Welcome to the Facilitators Deep Dive Podcast, your podcast on your way to facilitation mastery.
Welcome to today's deep dive. Everyone loves a good sales story. And today we're diving deep into Martin Limbeck's No is short for next opportunity.
Yeah, great title, right?
We've got excerpts from the book and some of Limbeck's personal notes, so we're getting the real deal.
Like behind-the-scenes access, right, to how he made it big.
Exactly. And something struck me about Limbeck's core philosophy that I found super interesting.
What's that?
It's that selling is about building those relationships, not about tricking people or taking advantage, you know?
He's really big on selling ethically.
Mm-hmm.
He uses the example of an insurance salesperson who tries to oversell a client on glass coverage.
Oh, yeah. That just makes the client feel icky afterward.
Exactly. Like they got swindled.
Yeah.
And that's not how you want to leave your clients feeling.
It makes you think about the bigger picture, too, like societal stuff. Limbeck even argues that when transactions feel unfair, it can contribute to social unrest if people constantly feel like they're getting ripped off.
Well, yeah, it erodes trust for sure.
Right, which can lead to bigger problems. But on the flip side, Limbeck is a huge believer in the power of selling when it's done right.
Exactly. He thinks it can be a force for good. It's about genuinely understanding people's needs.
And creating those win-win situations.
Like solutions that benefit both sides.
And to do that well, Limbeck really stresses the importance of having the right mindset.
Yeah. He talks about replacing hope with this idea of joyful resolve, which sounds kind of strange.
Yeah. What does that even mean, joyful resolve?
So he uses this really simple story about a hotel wake-up call.
Okay.
So instead of just saying, yeah, we'll call you back, the receptionists offered to call back in 10 minutes.
Okay.
It's a small thing, but it shows focus and initiative.
I guess I see what he's getting at.
Okay.
It's about going above and beyond, showing you're committed.
Exactly. And Limbeck ties that to this idea of no, not always being the end of the story.
Keep going.
Right. He gives the example of Johnny Cash, relentlessly pursuing June Carter.
Wow, that's persistence.
And it obviously paid off, which leads to this idea of new hard selling.
New hard selling. So is that the opposite of being sleazy?
Yeah. It's about acknowledging that you are trying to influence the customer.
You are trying to sell something to them.
Right. But you're doing it ethically with their best interests in mind.
Okay. So not just pushing a product for the commission.
Exactly. Imagine a salesperson at a boutique who genuinely believes a certain blazer looks amazing on a client.
That's not manipulative.
Right. It's about guiding them based on real belief in the product. And this becomes even more important in our super digital world now.
Yeah, so many ads, so much information.
Exactly. And Limbeck points out that customers today are just overwhelmed by all the info online.
Makes sense. It's hard to know what's legit these days.
Right. So a good salesperson becomes a trusted advisor, offering a human connection in all this digital noise.
It's funny because even with all this tech, Limbeck is a big fan of cold calling.
Right. Which seems almost old-fashioned.
It does. But he argues it's more relevant than ever. The key is preparation, though. He describes it as detective work.
Especially for those big clients.
Right. Like doing your research.
He has this great story about researching a client on LinkedIn before a call. And because he knew their background and interests,
he could connect with them on a deeper level.
Exactly. It's super personalized marketing.
Yeah.
Taking it to the next level.
That's smart. And it ties into this idea of bonsai small talk, which I love.
Oh, yeah. Bonsai small talk, quality over quantity.
Exactly. It's about letting the customer lead the conversation.
Brief, focused, no bragging, no useless chit-chat.
It's like creating a little perfectly formed conversation instead of rambling.
He really emphasizes showing genuine interest in the customer. He tells a story about a client who at first seemed...
Brainstorming.
Yeah, kind of closed off. But then Limbeck found out the client was super into model trains.
Oh, wow. Common ground.
And everything changed.
Yeah.
Their whole dynamic shifted. They connected on a deeper level. Built trust.
Model trains. Who knew?
Yeah.
So finding those shared interests can be huge.
It's about going beyond the surface level, figuring out what truly matters to your clients. And that connects to this idea of likability and competence.
Two important things.
He breaks it down like this. Competence closes deals. But likability wins when competence is equal.
So people buy from people they like.
It's human nature. Think about it.
Yeah.
If you needed open heart surgery,
okay,
would you choose the brilliant but grumpy surgeon? Or the incredibly kind and compassionate one who maybe isn't as famous?
That's a tough choice. But I get what you mean, likability matters.
Exactly. And Limbeck tells this story about a seminar he was giving, where he just sensed that the workplace dynamics were off.
Interesting. He can just tell.
Yeah. He picked up on this negative vibe, showcasing his ability to understand people beyond just their job titles.
To read the room, which ties into understanding your own strengths as a salesperson.
He uses a great analogy, hunters versus farmers.
I like that. So hunters are always looking for new clients.
Exactly. The thrill of the chase.
What about farmers?
They're all about nurturing those long-term relationships, making sure existing clients are happy.
Both important approaches.
And neither is better than the other. It's about figuring out which style fits your personality.
Play to your strengths. I like that. And whether you're a hunter or a farmer, Limbeck is all about persistence, especially when it comes to closing the deal.
He's really open about his own struggles and failures, reminding us that everyone faces rejection.
Even the best.
Exactly. He shares this story about a super challenging copier sales pitch.
Tough client.
Totally skeptical. Lots of reasons to say no. But Limbeck didn't give up.
Kept pushing, finding new ways to show the value.
And in the end, he won them over, which is a good reminder that resilience and determination can be huge.
It's not just about being aggressive, though. It's about being smart and prepared.
He talks about visualizing success before you even walk into a meeting.
Like mental rehearsal.
Exactly. Preparing for anything so you can stay cool and collected even when things get tough.
He calls this preparing for your America moment.
And his America moment was this realization that hard work and preparation can lead to real confidence and positive outcomes.
So it's a turning point for him.
He encourages readers to find their own America moments, those times when you pushed past fear and did something amazing.
It's about realizing your potential, even when you have doubts. And this ties into a key distinction he makes. Authentic self-esteem versus, fake confidence.
He says true self-esteem comes from within, from truly believing in yourself.
While fake confidence is just a front.
Exactly. To cover up insecurity. And he tells this funny story about a Doberman to make the point.
Hey, Doberman.
He realized the dog could sense his fear.
Oh, wow.
And he believes clients can sense that insecurity too. If you're projecting desperation, it shows.
So it's about that inner strength that comes from knowing your worth, believing in what you offer.
And I think that plays a big role in handling rejection.
Yeah.
Which is inevitable in sales.
You're going to hear no a lot.
He has a great analogy for dealing with rejection. He compares it to playing Monopoly. You win some, you lose some, but you got to keep playing.
Don't give up.
Exactly. He even tells a funny story about bribing a gatekeeper with chocolate cake.
To get to the decision maker, that's pretty creative.
He's resourceful. And that resourcefulness comes through in his advice on cold calling. Practical tips for dealing with anxiety, developing thick skin, even pushing boundaries a bit.
I remember one tactic, getting a decision maker's cell phone number. It seemed a bit bold.
But it highlights his willingness to go the extra mile.
And speaking of bold, his philosophy on pricing is equally interesting.
He believes in standing firm on your value, understanding the psychology behind negotiating.
He uses a clever analogy, talking about how the perceived value of champagne can change drastically depending on where it's being served.
Right. Same champagne, different context, different price.
It's about perceived value. You got to communicate your worth.
He's very clear. Don't fall into the trap of justifying your price. Instead, focus on showcasing the benefits the client will get.
It's not about being the cheapest option. It's about being the best value.
Which leads perfectly into his advice on writing proposals. He believes they should be more than just boring documents.
They should be an experience.
He's all about sending physical packages. Even if the client asks for an email, thoughtful additions.
Personalized, memorable.
Showing you went above and beyond.
In a digital world, personal touches still matter.
He takes it even further with the story about Airbus breaking into the U.S. market. They made a bold offer, giving Eastern Airlines 4 planes for 6 months.
Wow.
At a lease rate of $1.
$1? That's crazy. They were that confident in their product.
They believed in what they were offering and addressed the client's concerns head on.
That's a powerful lesson.
So we've talked about mindset, tactics, psychology, even some strategies for when things get tough.
It's a lot to take in.
But what's the main takeaway? What makes a top salesperson?
The winner's mentality.
He compares it to Captain Sullenberger landing that plane on the Hudson River.
That was incredible. What's the connection?
Sullenberger faced a crazy situation, but his experience training composure allowed him to handle it.
So top salespeople need those same qualities to thrive under pressure.
Exactly. Mental toughness, expertise, calmness under fire. And a key part of that is learning from your mistakes, always improving, never giving up.
And Limbeck also says it's important to celebrate those wins.
Big or small, it keeps you motivated.
Reinforces that winner's mentality. It's about recognizing those moments when you pushed past your limits and succeeded.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
We have one more question for you.
what were your America moments?
Those times when you surprised yourself with your resilience, your determination. How can you tap into that mindset more often to achieve even greater success?
We'll explore that and more of Limbeck's insights in part 2 of our deep dive into No is short for next opportunity.
Stay tuned. Back for more Limbeck. I love how he ties those America moments to building that winner's mentality. It's not just about like racking up sales.
Right. It's about facing those challenges head on with that same confidence.
He even talks about dreading cold calls early on, seeing them as a potential source of rejection.
Makes sense. It can be scary putting yourself out there.
Especially at the start, when you're still finding your groove.
But Limbeck realized that each call, even the ones that led to no, was a step closer to a yes. It became a numbers game, a test of resilience.
So he shifted his focus, embraced the process.
He stopped taking rejection personally. It became a challenge, a game to win.
And that ties into his idea of being bold, seizing opportunities. He even tells a story about landing a meeting with a top executive.
How?
He just walked up to him during a seminar, introduced himself.
Wow, that's bold. I guess it worked.
He believes in taking calculated risks, not letting fear hold you back.
Got to stand out, especially in today's world.
Right, make an impact. And that brings us to something else. Limbeck stresses self-presentation branding.
Your image matters. He's always impeccably dressed.
Those cufflinks, always a statement.
He sees it as an extension of his brand, communicating professionalism, confidence.
Like those iconic brands, Nike, Harley-Davidson, strong visual identity.
It's not about vanity. It's about reinforcing your message. And that applies to his proposals, too.
I was just thinking that he doesn't believe in boring proposals.
Nope. They should be experiences, reflecting the client's needs, their interests.
He loves sending physical packages, even when the client asked for email.
It's tangible, memorable shows you put in the effort, went above and beyond.
Even in our digital world, those personal touches matter. What about handling objections? Does he have any tips?
Anticipate them. Prepare responses in advance. He even says, create a mental playbook.
So you're ready for anything. What if you get hit with an objection you haven't prepared for?
Stay calm. Take a breath. Acknowledge the objection. Ask questions to gather more information.
Turn it into a dialogue, an opportunity for understanding.
He's really tuned into human behavior. Understanding your client's motivations is key.
It's about making a genuine connection, like that story he told about the client who was initially so guarded.
The one with the plaid jacket.
Yeah, they bonded over model trains.
Shared interests, even small ones, can forge strong bonds.
It's about going deeper, truly understanding your clients as people, which is at the heart of Limbeck's philosophy.
It's not just about closing deals, it's about building relationships, win-win situations.
Selling with integrity, passion, a real desire to see your clients thrive. But let's talk about closing. That can be a sticking point for some salespeople.
The art of the close, it's essential, the culmination of all your efforts.
So how do you do it well?
Trial closes, assumptive closes, direct closes. Choose the right approach based on the client, the situation.
Read the room, gauge the readiness. I guess this is where active listening is crucial.
Absolutely. Pay attention to verbal and nonverbal cues. Ask clarifying questions. Paraphrase. Really tune in.
Be present, adapt to their needs, recognize those buying signals.
Shift in body language. A specific question. A telling statement. When you see that opening, go for it. Ask for the fail confidently.
Hesitation can kill the deal.
Believe in yourself, your product, your ability to help. He also talks about handling rejection gracefully.
Because it happens.
See it as a chance to learn, get feedback, analyze what worked, what could be better, refine your approach.
Every interaction, win or lose, is a learning experience.
That pursuit of improvement is vital. Celebrate your wins, too big or small. It keeps you going.
Reminds you why you love the game.
It's about maintaining momentum, fueling your passion.
So much to unpack. What stands out to you most from Limbeck's approach?
It's the human element, the connections, understanding your client's needs, selling with integrity. That's what resonates with me.
At its core, sales is about people, and those connections are everything. So before we move on to our final thoughts, one more question for you, inspired by Limbeck. What's your why? What drives you in sales?
We'll explore that question in our last segment. Until then, keep Limbeck's wisdom in mind and let it guide you towards even greater success.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Limbeck's No is short for next opportunity. We've covered so much ground.
We have, from mindset to strategies to those defining America moments that show us what we're truly capable of.
And Limbeck leaves us with this question. What's your why? What fuels that fire in your belly for sales?
It's a question that goes beyond just the techniques and tactics.
Right. It's about the deeper meaning, the purpose driving us.
Limbeck says, knowing your why is essential for that long-term fulfillment and for sustained success in sales.
It's like your inner compass,
Right?
guiding your choices even when things get tough.
He tells a story about feeling burnt out, disillusioned with sales, questioning everything.
I think we've all been there at some point, wondering if we're on the right path.
Totally. But what Limbeck realized was that he loved helping others succeed.
That was his why.
It reignited his passion for sales, seeing his clients achieve their goals.
That sense of purpose can be so powerful. It gives you the energy to keep going.
And Limbeck wants us to find that for ourselves. Think about your values, your passions, the impact you want to make.
What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? What difference do you want to make in the world?
Big questions for sure, and the answers are going to be different for everyone.
It's about finding that alignment, where your skills, your passions, and your purpose all come together.
And when that happens, it changes everything. Sales becomes about making a real difference.
Building those lasting connections, leaving a positive impact. So as we wrap up our deep dive into No is short for next opportunity,
Think about your why.
what's driving your sales journey? What impact do you want to have?
Let that purpose guide you. Embrace those challenges. Celebrate your wins.
And never stop learning. Never stop growing.
Because when you combine that strong mindset with the right strategies and a genuine desire to serve your clients,
You've got a recipe for success.
and maybe even an America moment or two waiting for you.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
See you next time on the Facilitators Deep Dive Podcast, your podcast on your way to facilitation mastery. Until next time.
See you then.